Yo, still Bills, what's the deal, man? Niggas is back. It's motherfucking Friday, bro. All praises. All praises, dude. I'm ready to get this day over with, man. So I can get up off this knee a little bit more, man. But peep game. And my son ain't got no game this weekend, too, man. Hell yeah. But peep game, man. We got to get into some shit, man. And that's this narrative, man. Listen, when you are in a position, niggas is always trying to dethrone you or whatever the case may be. So now the notion is Canelo was no longer the face of boxing and Tank is. They've been propagating this shit since Tank fought Ryan, and he did what did he do? 1.5 for that fight, which was a big fight. Like nobody is saying that the fight wasn't a success, but they keep running with this notion that because Ryan had never fought on a pay-per-view before, that Tank is the only reason that the fight did the way it did what it did. And it's like, yo, that's just not the case, because if that wasn't the case, or if that was the case, then how come none of his other fights sold like this? Nobody is saying Ryan is A side. Nobody is saying nothing out of the ordinary that would take and denigrate Tank's light, and as far as his contributions to the success of that pay-per-view. Nobody is saying that Ryan is a former world champion and a superstar attraction. Nobody is saying that. We're simply saying Ryan had a hand in selling the pay-per-view as well. And it isn't because of his accolades. It's simply because what he does on social media. What he does on social media, and Tank, and he proved me wrong, because I didn't think that a seismic social media following like to that degree would be a determine whether or not you have a successful pay-per-view or not. I was wrong, and honestly, I still don't think that. I just simply think it was because he's been calling out. Ryan has been calling him out for all this time. The little incident they had in the club, Tank is buzzing enough to where 200,000 motherfuckers have bought this pay-per-view. And, Floyd is consistently talking about him over these past few years. You dig? He's the most notable lightweight. All right, cool. We're somewhat familiar with Tank. So now you take that, and you that eventually snowballs into what it is we got back in what, May? I think it was May. Was it May? I think it was May. That eventually snowballed into that. So they was able to have an incredible pay-per-view because of that. Ryan is consistently on TikTok doing the most shadow boxing, never hitting no mitts, never hitting no bags, none of that shit. Just we seen him spar, but he's not doing nothing that would make a boxing fan go crazy. Like, oh shit, Ryan look like he in his bag. You see that pad work? We can somewhat see him developing. We can somewhat see what he's game planning for, depending on the fight that he's going into. We don't see that with Ryan. We see Ryan shadow boxing, and we see him hitting that it ain't a double end bag. I don't know what they call it. My brother has one. Canelo hits that too, but we also see Canelo working all of the contraptions in the gym. We don't see that from Ryan. Ryan is an IG model, pretty boy. He has this look to him. He has this, this 90s boy band look to him. So you take all of that and you throw them two in the ring, and they're promoting it properly. They're doing multiple city tours to promote it. Yeah, you're gonna get a box office pay-per-view. That was a very successful pay-per-view. They said Ryan made like 30 M's off that. That's a hell of a success off of that bag alone. That's Floyd Mayweather money. What Floyd was getting, like when he was fighting Juan Manuel Marquez and all that, he was getting 30 M's. That's a Canelo bag. That right there was that was colossal. That was colossal. So nobody is saying that the fight wasn't a success and Tank didn't play his role. No, nobody is saying that at all. We're saying Ryan had just as much to do with the success of that pay-per-view as Tank. Now, mind you, they just signed, like they spent an entire year last year when Canelo wanted to go and fight Bivol and Triple G in that trilogy to close out that trilogy. They spent an entire year castigating this dude because he did, Floyd. Oh man, this dude is easy work. We're gonna talk about Floyd too in another video. This dude is easy work, and just having the most to say about him. While he's ducking black fighters, I got Caleb Plant beating him. I did, just saying the most wild shit to him because he didn't take that fight. He didn't take that 3-fight deal with him to somewhat save them. He didn't take that shit with him, so now they wasn't their feelings the entire year, last year. Now he signs in May, and the whole dynamic has changed as far as energy. I don't even see as much hate on these, social media sites as I did last year as it pertains to Canelo. But um what is it? But with him taking that 3-fight deal, my thing is this. Ryan and Tank needed each other to get that type of payday. Ryan and Tank needed each other to garner that many buys for a pay-per-view. Canelo just did 700 with Charlo, Brody. Nobody else is selling this pay-per-view but Canelo. And y'all, I mean, it's not even about fanboying and shit, man. Because I was just on Artman's page last night, and just because he can't deal with me from an intellectual standpoint. The minute I go to not castigate, but debunk all of their narratives, they switch to this cooning shit, and you a coon, even though none of them niggas is on my level on an intellectual, from an intellectual stance as it pertains to black nationalism. I'm tired of you're not on my level, youngin. But they do that shit. It's like, yo, just with this generation of black fighters, it is going to be more non-black fighters in the Hall of Fame than there is black fighters from this crop of fighters. From the PBC crop of fighters, there's going to be more non-black fighters than it is black fighters going into the Hall of Fame and having more memorable careers. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. Because these niggas are cool with doing the least and expecting the most. You are cool with fighting Brandon Adams and expecting to get a Canelo fight. You are cool with fighting Liam Williams instead of getting in there and fighting a Johnny Beck or a Zach Parker. You are cool with fighting Ryan Garcia. You're cool with fighting Hector Luis Garcia, Isaac Cruz, and Leo Santa Cruz instead of Lomachenko, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney. You dig? You are cool with fighting everybody else until you are eventually painted into a corner where you have no other choice but to fight Terrence Crawford. You are cool with fighting Luis Ortiz and Tyson Fury instead of fighting Anthony Joshua. This crop of fighters, because of the promotional, the publicity stunts and the bullshit promotional abilities of how he promotes his fighters, all the smoke screens and shit that they draw. This is going to be a crop of fighters that does not make the Hall of Fame in bulk, like other fighters did. This shit is pathetic. It's sickening. It's sickening. So with that being said, Canelo was able to maintain, a certain level of prestige to where he can garner enough interest in a fight just off of his name alone. That's going to bring the people out. But oh man, this ain't no buzz around this fight. Ain't no buzz around this fight. Niggas did 700K. Dolo. It did, like, man, like, come on, man. Like, just, and what you are, the guarantees that you get says a lot about where you stand within the, within the hierarchy of boxing. When you are guaranteed 50 M's, guaranteed. When you are guaranteed that, as opposed to getting 2 million and 5 million guarantees, how can you possibly be the face of boxing? Why aren't they offering you $100 million deals? They're not offering you that. Canelo is going to make 100 M's off of 3 fights. Off of 3 fights, he's going to make 100 M's. How are you not the face of the sport on this side of the world? It just behooves people to say, yo, man, well, I mean, nah, he's not bigger than Canelo. All out of sense of black nationalism and shit, and just wanting him not wanting to, prepare to propel someone else into that stature, and you just can't do it. You can't force that. You can't force that. This dude is he's still the top dog, still the top dog, and still the top draw on this side. Like y'all are hyped off of one. He had 6 times to do 100, not 100, but 1,000,000 buys. He did it once. The other 5 bombed. Now that's not saying that he can't be a face. No, I'm not saying that at all. But is he the face? No. No. A lot of the fighters that you fought, I mean, shit, I don't think Hector Luis Garcia got $1,000,000 for that fight. Mario Barrios got $1,000,000 for that fight. And I hate pocket watching niggas. But this goes with, this coincides with who is the best, who's the biggest draw, who's the face of the sport. When your name alone can generate enough revenue to where you could give your opponent a sizable payday, a payday to where they don't even, man, please, I ain't got a box for the rest of the year. I can retire off of this bag right here. That says a lot, bro. That says a lot. Canelo's opponents was making more than Tank was getting guaranteed. I mean, everybody was hyped off. Well, Ryan, Ryan, he getting a $10 million guarantee. I'm like, Caleb Plant and Billy Joe Saunders got that. What are we talking about here, Brody? You wouldn't have to worry about calling me a fanboy or whatever if you would just simply exercise some common sense. If Tank can replicate what he did with Ryan Garcia in his next fight, all praises. But if he's fighting Isaac Cruz next, you think 1,000,000 motherfuckers is going to tune in to see that shit when they didn't even want to see it the first time? I think now you're being very dishonest if you say yeah. Unless he proves a nigga wrong. And I'll stand corrected. But there is no getting around the fact that you're not the face of the sport when the face of the sport is getting his opponent's guarantees that you're getting as the top draw for this fight. I don't understand what's the harm in saying that, nah, he's not there yet. Canelo wasn't always the top dog. You got to remember, when he was active, he was coming into prominence while Floyd and Manny was still them dudes. He didn't get ushered into the top spot until Floyd pieced out. And Manny pieced out. Let's stop playing games, man. Like, it's weird arguing with people because they want to, just for you to go against the grain, is for you to go against the brethren, and that ain't the case. I'm like, with y'all mentality, with y'all do the least and expect the most approach when it comes to supporting these fighters, they hear what's going on social media. They hear that shit. So with fans like y'all create this biosphere where they don't have to do nothing. They don't have to go through no gauntlet of opposition. Their blackness is enough. Them being a champion is enough for them to get where it is that you want to be. They just automatically supposed to get where it is that you want them to be. If they don't fight Canelo, he's running. I still remember niggas talking about Bivol was a cherry pick. And y'all minds are so convoluted with disrespect, y'all will completely ignore the fact that Canelo wants that rematch in his division. Bivol wants to drop down and fight him for his. No, you're not coming. I want to fight. I want to take your belts. You're not taking my belts. When you're a boss, you can make that decision. But because you want the bosses to be niggas who look like me and you can't comprehend it. When a non-black person makes boss moves, y'all get in your feelings. Y'all get in your feelings. Y'all niggas is weirdos, bro. You don't pay the cost to be the boss to bow down to some anyways ass niggas. And because of that, this crop of fighters, or the PBC crop of the PBC generation of fighters, we're gonna see how what happens when it's all said and done once they retire. The most inactive, the least accomplished. You're gonna see how bad that hurts. You're gonna see how bad that hurts their legacy when it's time for them to hang their gloves up and they ain't first ballot and niggas ain't remembering who the fuck they are. We gotta hold our own to a certain standard and continue to set the bar, because the bar is set so low amongst black fighters. Here the fuck we are. Wait, holding out to lose your virginity to a Canelo Alvarez, man. We are some of the most goofy, simpleton motherfuckers ever, Brody. You niggas need to do better. I'm outie, bro. Deuces.